Okay, I'm rolling.
Hello, Mr. Hogan.
And how are you?
So just for the record, state your name and your affiliation with Loretto Hospital.
Ed Hogan, I'm longtime chairman of Loretto Hospital.
So I'll just get right in. We have new leadership, and you were a great part of that. What were you looking for in a new leader for the hospital?
Someone with vision, someone who had experience in especially inner city or safety net type hospitals, and someone that could bring Loretto to a new level. And I think we succeeded marvelously with George.
So we've sustained a lot of hits lately. I mean, from the MCOs recently to having to really revamp our operations. Do you have any comments regarding that?
Well, and it has been tough, and needlessly so. And I'm glad with Senator Lightfoot and Representative Lilly and Representative the whole legislature with what was passed last week or 2 weeks ago just was very much needed. But yet we have to put this all in perspective. When the change of control occurred at Loretto was originally owned, if you will, or controlled certainly by the Sisters of St. Casimir, which is a religious order of nuns. Loretto was one of their hospitals in Chicago. Holy Cross was their other, and their mother house is next door to Holy Cross. Loretto, they in essence gave up, and there was what's called a change of control. It went from a board that the sisters had named all the people to the board to a community board. And when the community board took over, the fund balance was a negative $27 million. And today it's maybe, we got it up to about positive $54 million. Now it's probably dipped a little bit because of this last 2 or 3 years with the MCOs have been eating into like a lot of our reserves. But in that time period, we have a new ER, we have new boilers and chillers. Now that was the first one. You can only imagine how hard it is to raise money for boilers and chillers. And again, Kim Lightfoot helped us do that, as well as for the ER and the ICU. But in addition, though, over the last like 5 years, we've sprinkled the entire building. We have rehabbed, I think, all of the patient rooms, and we've done all this other work. So we've come a long, long way. 25 to 30 years ago, long-range planning at Loretto Hospital was Friday afternoon. Could we make a payroll? We're having our tough times. There's no question about that. But they were tougher before. And I remember at one point, this is about 20 years ago, we had hired a consulting firm. I think it was Merrill Lynch out of New York, to come in and advise us as to what we should do. Should we stay open? Should we merge? Should we do this, do that? And they were in for, I don't know, a couple weeks, and they said either sell or merge or close the place down. And that was like a slap in the face to the board, many of whom are still on the board. And I have to give credit to Michelle Collins especially, because at a board meeting said, if we can't provide the best of medical care for the citizens and residents of Austin, we should close this place down. And I'm telling you, it was a slap in the face of every board member, and it really changed how we looked at things, and we started taking a longer-term vision of things. And fortunately, we had great help from the state and Kim Lightfoot, and we were able to do it. Now, I hope we're going to get through this, but it has been tough. And George been there, what now, 2 years or almost? Yeah, a year plus. No, he usually gives us in days, as I'm sure you've heard. But George has made tremendous progress. I mean, there was a time period where the medical staff and the hospital staff were at odds with each other. He's brought everybody together, and he tries to, and especially in the last 6 months as we were getting ready for new accreditation review. He's really engaged all of the employees into this whole process and into the delivery of the greatest of medical care to the residents of Austin. So he and Anash have done just a marvelous job.
And you just answered the question. So where do you see us in the future?
Well, again, we looked at maybe exploring running in some capacity West Side or Westlake. But we don't have the resources. We figured it'd cost about $20 million in terms of construction rehab, and then to build up the medical staff. And maybe when you're running this tape, you don't have to say Westlake.
No, I know. I'll take snippets out.
Yeah. But we looked at that, so we're not afraid to be kind of ambitious about stuff. We're looking at developing primarily a clinic, if you will, in the old space where Sacred Heart Hospital was, and we're kind of exploring that opportunity right now. But one of the problems is in healthcare, things that you do in the private sector, you go to jail for, or they're improper, they're illegal in healthcare, or it's just, so it's very difficult. And to do things right takes a little bit of time and a little bit of extra planning, and we'll get through this.
You mentioned ambitious, and there have been some extension out in Oak Park and Berwyn that you guys are doing. That's pretty ambitious.
Well, we did that before, and we weren't successful. We had 2 African American physicians, a husband and wife. We opened up an office for, I think, on North Avenue, and then there was another office we had in Berwyn, and neither one worked out. They just couldn't generate the patients, and it didn't. At the end of the day, it didn't make any financial sense to stay open. And again, those are back in the days when long-range planning was Friday afternoon, and so we just didn't have the luxury of keeping these things going. Now, we can do those things now, and in fact, we have done it in the last year. We have 2 different types of clinics, one with a nursing home we're renting space from just south of the hospital, north of the hospital, and over in Oak Park we have opened up a clinic that's, the numbers are looking very nice. Are they going to supply millions and millions of dollars to the hospital? The answer is no. But are we going to provide great medical care for the citizens and residents of Austin and the area? I think we are.
Last question for me. If you had to tell someone in the community about Loretto Hospital, what would you tell them?
It is one of the most caring and loving places you're ever going to find. I think we really pride ourselves on that. I'm trying to think who's our experience officer at the hospital. Tanisha. She checks on every patient every day of the year. And I don't know if other hospitals do that. In fact, I know they don't. So it's a whole new culture at Loretto. And it's really changed in the last 30 years.
Perfect. That's it.